I was invited in his flat at his flatmate's party, and I was there. I thought I was there pretty much. I was half an hour late, but still one of the first people to be there, and I was the last guy leaving. And then I asked his flatmate, by the way, where was Linus the whole night? Oh, he has been here in the beginning, so probably the first 5 minutes. But then he went to work like downstairs, like in his room to run the solvers and stuff. So he's really like that.
Listen, I think very interesting subject that probably is interesting for a lot of people, not just me, is the subject of the crews, right? Because you've been talking about, you know, the German crew, etc., etc., and obviously you guys were like the first ones which were pretty much like a close-knit community of people pushing each other, right? And the story of you telling about the influence of Fedor, how he motivated basically all of you guys by just being super confident and pushing you in the right direction. And then you had the analytical people in the group, you know, and all sorts of people. So eventually the whole group gets the synergy of everybody pushing each other in a good direction, right? Because this German group was basically one of the first ones that actually took it seriously, of working together and pushing each other forward. Because nowadays, if we look around, like pretty much everybody works with other people, right? Because people came to a conclusion that, hey, you want to achieve something big in this business, you have to work with other people. You have to have coaches, you have to have mental coaches, you have to have, you know, just people playing the same games that you do, that you can share ideas with, and people who are just going to motivate you, right?
Like 100%. It's I think before, all the high rollers were kind of an American thing. You had like the old people like Phil Ivey, Dan Negreanu, etc., who've just been around forever. Plus you had those, I mean, the story of every American high roller is the same, right? It's like, I was a student, I somehow got into poker, I made a gazillion $1 million in like the first month. And then when I had 10K bankroll, I satellited into PCA, and then I got second in the tournament. Right? This is the story of every single American high roller, kind of, or they've just been the best at what they did. Right? Like a Ben 86, or I don't know, like just crushing everything and then starting to play high rollers because they just have the 5 to 20 million. I don't know. It's different numbers. So they were like, they all had their achievements pretty much on their own, and then they met. We were like, there was not like some 2008 poker boom money in that group that we had. There was Fedor winning everything, okay, and the others doing their job, like grinding Zoom 500 or grinding the Sunday Millions, etc. But our group was kind of everyone was not there for like without a reason. So it was all it started 2014, the good old Cherry Island story, when we went to Canada to play Scoop, and all the people who, most of them ended up being in that high roller crew, were kind of pre-selected by Fedor. And he's just a super smart guy, and he just knows how to surround himself with the people that are needed in such a group. So it's not just that it's a group that met and worked together. It's just a kind of selected group that fits well together and works together. It's like we have Dom, who has been there forever. That's the only one who was like not selected somehow.
Yeah, it's super interesting that you say that, because even from the outside it looked like that. Because you were like the 100 BB guy, then there was bencb, the short stack guy, then there was Rainer, the sit and go wizard, and it just seemed like it was somebody thought it through.
I don't know how much he thought it through. I think he was big into reading the random forums. It's like Poker Strategy. DE was like the German poker school forum where I had a blog and bencb had a blog and Rainer and Julian had a blog together. And I think Fedor just read all that and chose by like the quality of how much he likes what is written there. And he actually just I was about to finish university and we have never met before. And he just wrote me in Skype, hey, are you this Alda Falda? Was my screen name there. Are you this guy? I like what you write. Do you want to join for Grinding Scoop in Canada for like 6 weeks? I mean, it's like 2 weeks before, 2 weeks Scoop, 2 weeks after. Like, yeah, I don't play tournaments, but why not, right? I just finished uni the month before. And yeah, like those, I mean, this is all that random stuff needs to come together to get into that spot. It's like super random that my way ended up the way it ended, like poker-wise. But it's just a different design than like different people getting there kind of to the top by like binking a big tournament or being super good in like one discipline of poker, and then trying to get along, which is like what happened after the Germans won everything. Like it's everyone says the Germans won everything. It's not the thing. Fedor won everything, and all the Germans sometimes won like a little something. And yeah, and then they started to group together. It's like, but different factors as well. I mentioned it before, where I thought it's big advantage that I had in the beginning, that they just knew like, okay, I'm a random German, and I probably have to do with Fedor, but well, I played all those guys in cash. I don't know how much I played with Justin Bonomo, Zoom 1K, for example, at that point of time, or like the Sidengos with Petrangelo and others. And I knew like their stats and potential leaks or anything, and sitting there on the live table, just like hiding. I tried to take the live part out of it. And I had that at one point, plus we had the group of people that already played infinite tournaments with those, and just like asking and sharing, how does this guy play? Or like in those spots, what do you think? Is he like how ICM aware? Does he overfold? Does he not overfold in certain spots? I had all those information, and this is where like a large part of the edge that I would like, just looking back now, which we clearly had, not just obviously there was at least one guy in the group who ran insanely hot, but I'm very certain that there's like there was a huge edge as well, just like because of or partly because of the working together.
Yeah. And it's also like, to me, the interesting part about it, like one of the interesting, because there's so many interesting parts about it, but it's just, you know, nobody really worked like this before. Like it wasn't a thing, right? There wasn't a group of people who were trying to achieve something at the high level and like super committed and trying to find people with different talents, and you know, so that's super fun to realize, because like nowadays you look at all these other groups of people, you know, Americans, they have their own group, they have their own WhatsApp group chats, you know, comparing the notes, pushing each other, you know, obviously all the Russians have their groups, and you know, all sorts of countries, and it's not only limited to countries, like people know, okay, you need the groups. And also like if we think about it, you know, in the tournament scenes, there's the slipped my mind, like BitB staking or whatever that thing is, right? So
BitB, Poker, you have like, I don't know, all that, so much South American stuff, I guess, as well.
Exactly. So, and in cash games you have different things for Hold'em and PLO, like BluffTheSpot, for example, right? So basically a company that builds a group with coaches and the students to push each other to achieve something in no limit cash games, no limit Hold'em cash games, and PLO cash games, right? So this is all normal. This is like, it's so obvious to everybody who's trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to progress quickly. It's obvious, okay, we need to work in a group and we need to take it seriously. The part about you guys just coming together and kind of creating this, or realizing that that's the way, that's so fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it's like shout out to Fedor here. I think he was the main part of like pushing that whole group together a little. And yeah, I agree totally. I mean, in which kind of sports or competitive environment in the world is it possible to compete at the highest level just like doing everything by yourself? Like this does not really exist, right? Every sports people, they have their team around them, right? And or like even, I don't know, I'm just thinking of athletics, for example, track and field, like everywhere, different names. Like they even pre-select in the country or like local area the best people that they can train together, etc., to get better. And it's just, I mean, it's just the same thing. And nowadays I'm just trying to have my cash game buddies around me as well. And yeah.
I mean, it seems so obvious now, but back in the days, nobody did it. And so
do you know
the first group?
There was like the big word in the German forum. I don't know whether it qualifies as an English word, but it was called content hiding mafia.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the big thing. Like people were scared of giving away like the magic clues that make you win in poker, right? When people check twice, you can just bet large because then they fold. They are full of shit. Like as if it was something magical like that. Like that, the people got taught that made it up there somehow by chance or by being just smarter in those early days where poker was so unsolved and no one had a clue. That they just like, they got that mindset of not giving away anything. This is what I felt. Like I even had it from like reading through those forums, like writing a blog, that like I would be too shy to ask someone who's clearly better for his opinion, because it's like asking him for money pretty much. That was, I don't know, that was kind of the energy that was around there.
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, sometimes it still feels like that because, you know, if you hire a good coach, you also have to pay like $500 an hour. And so if you just ask them for free advice, basically,
yeah.
So it's just...
But it's like, it helps you so much. Like if someone is clearly better, okay, that's probably helps one guy way more than the other. But so often just working together with people that are somewhat on your level just pushes you both like 2 levels ahead. Like, and I was always a big fan of it. I was writing that blog and like talking about strategy. I was not the best, right? I was just moving my way up the stakes. But obviously, when I was playing NL25, the people playing NL5 could learn something, and I was happy about that. I hated that even now in like the 218, I don't know, high roller years, when people were hiding their content, right? Everyone had those solvers, everyone could run it. And if there was an interesting spot, I mean, why shouldn't I tell it, right? There are some people, I don't want to call out names here, but that pissed me off, like really, like, yeah, okay, I'll put in the solver myself, but I've seen you have run it already. What would have been the line? Like, just tell me, right? It's like, it's out there. And then getting the answer, I think you should do that work yourself. Like, just like, it's really nothing special. I have to just like waste 10 minutes of my life, and you make me waste 10 minutes of my life instead of telling me the answer. It won't help me right now against you. It's like, and I like that open attitude there, just like.
Yeah, and also, you know, nowadays there's not one big secret you don't want to share. It's like everybody has access to solvers, and, you know, everybody
just like
knows how to
saving time or not, right?
Yeah.
No, like I want you to sit down and waste 10 minutes of your life to get to the point where I am already and I could tell you. It's like, yeah, I mean, but on the next day he wants to have dinner with me. I mean, sorry, like it's, yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody's asking if you think that's also possible to do that without a group. For example, Linus seems to just do it all by himself.
Linus definitely has a group. I mean, he is like, I mean, it's different personalities as well. He's one who is like, I don't know him too well. It's just like from seeing him sometimes, it's just the guess that he is like, he's avoiding parties. Let's say this is the one experience I have where I was invited at his flatmate's party, and I was there. I thought I was there pretty much. I was half an hour late, but still one of the first people to be there, and I was the last guy leaving. And then I asked his flatmate, by the way, where was Linus the whole night? Oh, he has been here in the beginning, so probably the first 5 minutes. But then he went to work like downstairs, like in his room to run the solvers and stuff. So he's really like that guy, just like sitting there in his office working on it. I think there was even a blog he had. I might mixed that up, like or on 2+2 where he was writing about like just he like pretty early where he was like still struggling on 500 or 1K. Like I want to be the best in the world and I'll give everything to it, and he just kept going.
But I think that was the Baron, right?
No,
wasn't it OTB?
OTB had a blog too, but not like the story I'm thinking about. Like this, I'm 1K right now and I'm like breaking even, but I want to be the best in the world, and this is my motivation. Like that's a different one that I always had. Like I never wanted to be like the best player in the world or anything.
Oh, but I have to check that out later.
Yeah, I'm not. I might mix that up, but not with the Red Baron. I'm not sure. Don't want to tell wrong stuff, so it's just what I have in my mind.
Yeah, but anyway, the thing is that of course Linus has a group of people, of course, because like you don't achieve the heights, you know, by just sitting alone, solver or no solver. I mean, you can be the biggest geek in the world and sit 20 hours a day in front of the computer. It's not gonna make like.
And then we can come back to the story. There will be one guy who is as much of a geek as you are, but he will have his crew, which has to have advantages, right?
Exactly.
So